What's going on? This is Tori, aka Wet Dirt, the MC. What's going on, man? Excuse me tonight. I'm kind of vibing out, and I've been thinking about a few things, and I want people's opinion on the situation. But first of all, excuse me, because I'm at home vibing, and it's about 11:12 exactly, and you know, having a couple of drinks, relaxing, unwinding. So, today I've been thinking about alignment. Alignment for us spiritual folks, you know. Alignment is, it's a key component when we're trying to create things, manifest things. Have a quick story. So, I started my lawn service in 2014. But before that, for 2 years, I worked at this landscaping company, and I wasn't happy. And back then, I was a religious guy, and I was praying that, God does something to help me change my situation. And I prayed and prayed, started doing resumes. I sent resumes out. Got this job interview from this, I think it was a cleaning company or whatnot. They had good benefits and they didn't pay great, but it would be something different that I would probably be cool with. So I did the interview, and after I did the interview, they told me that they would hire me. And when they told me that they would hire me, I told them that I needed 2 weeks to give my last job. So as I remember it, he looked kind of skeptical, but at the same time, he told me that, he would give me that 2 week allowance, and then I can start in 2 weeks. Long story short, after my 2 weeks is up, I call him to ask him, where do you need me to go so I can start work tomorrow? And he tried to act like he didn't remember who I was. So, we kind of go around and around, kind of get frustrated. Then I call the front office, and they tell me that they gave the position to somebody else. They couldn't wait 2 weeks. But the guy didn't tell me he couldn't wait 2 weeks. Maybe I could have made some type of an arrangement, but he didn't say anything like that, so kind of left me out there. So I quit the job that I hated, and I didn't want to go back. And what happened was, I'm driving with my son. He's 12 years old now. 2014, he was 6 or 7. And we're driving through this neighborhood, and he just kind of notices that, this is like fall. So there's leaves everywhere. So, as we're driving, I'm like, damn, man, there's a lot of leaves out here. And, because I was in a landscaping job, part of my job was also leaf removal and lawn mowing at certain little locations as well. So when I mentioned about there being so many leaves out, well, my son, he said, well, why don't you do it? And I thought he was kind of being a smart ass. And you know how it is. I'm reaching in the back, about to aim. So, for some reason, it just dawned on me, like, maybe that's not a bad idea. So anyway, what I did was I went to Kinko's, and I got 100 flyers, and I took those 100 flyers out to the neighborhood, and I passed them out. And that same day, I got a phone call for a leaf removal job. So, one thing leads after another. the spring comes, and I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm still actually trying to find a more secure job. But the spring comes, and I'm like, I just get my tax returns, and I'm like, yo, maybe I should think about getting a lawnmower. So I'm still putting out my resumes, actually, because I didn't think that it would come up to be serious, some side thing, whatnot. Anyway, I got a job interview for this company. They hired me, and I did the little training. The next thing you know, I can't remember. They sell parts back and forth, aviation type parts, all through the country, and I'll never forget it. I had been there a week, but before I started working, it's the springtime, might I add, and before I actually go into the interview, my phone starts blowing up with leaf removal jobs, and people are thinking about trying to set somebody up to mow their lawns for the season and whatnot. My phone is blowing up. I got this interview from this really cool job with benefits and all that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking to myself, wow, this is kind of crazy that all of this is just kind of happening. Do the interview, get the job. I'm working there about a week. I'll never forget it. I had the mid shift from like 3 to midnight. So we're working. It's midnight. And right before midnight, right before 12 o'clock, they stop everything. The boss comes up and announces that everything is not done. So we have to finish all the orders for tonight before anybody goes home. And I just remember the feeling that I felt, because it brought me back to why I quit my other job in the first place. And, I was frustrated. I finished the shift. I think we got done around 12:30, 1 o'clock, something like that. But I never forgot what that made me feel like, to be at the mercy of somebody else's power. It bothered me. I actually felt something in my stomach, like fuck, man, like I don't got nothing to do with like my job was done. Like I'm ready to go home. It's already midnight. Like the next day, I started getting more calls, because what I was doing is I would get up in the morning and I would knock out a couple of leaf removal jobs, and then I would go to that job at night. So I was like working all day. So I started getting more phone calls for leaf removal. And like I said, it had turned to spring, and I was already thinking about getting a lawnmower. Tax return just came back. So I had a little bit of money in my pocket as well. So I got a bunch of calls. Excuse me. And I started thinking to myself, is this something that I could really do? Can I really start a lawn service by myself? Is it gonna make the right amount of money? Like, I got a family, my wife was in daycare at the time. Is this gonna be something that can be sustainable? So I never forget it. I got about 4 or 5 calls for leaf removal jobs. And I started understanding that these leaf removal jobs was making more money than this job, what they would call a real job. It was making more money. It would balance out to make more money. So I thought to myself, like, look, fuck that job. That's exactly what I said. So, I go to my wife first. She was kind of on the fence about it. But then I said, this shit is going to work. We're going to get a lawnmower. So I'm doing leaf removal now. The summer's coming up. I can get a bunch of new customers. At this point, I was going to Vistaprint. And I would make these little flyers. And I would take them out to the neighborhood and pass them all around out. And then I would get into the car and I would go to different neighborhoods and pass them all around. So what was happening was I was setting up things for myself, but I didn't really understand that a lot of this was happening because years before my son, remember my son told me that I should do the leaves? For years, something had been telling me like, dude, you probably, if you get out here, you do this lawnmower, you probably make a killing out here, bro. I had been having these little flickers in my mind for 3 or 4 years about lawn service. Anyway, talked to my wife and she wasn't really cool with it, but as far as I was concerned, I made my decision. So the next day I go to the folks at the job and I was like, look, man, I can't do this anymore. I have a lawn service and I can make more doing that than I'm doing here. So you're gonna have to give my position to somebody else. And that's how it happened. So I would keep with the same routine. The season had changed from leaf removal to mowing. Like I said, I had a few dollars in my pocket, so I got a little lawnmower to start off with. So I was just, at this point, it's had transitioned. I'm mowing lawns. I'm charging like $28, $30 to mow a lawn. And I got to a point where I got like, I don't know, maybe 16, 20 different customers weekly. And then I would be out working in a certain neighborhood. And people would see me out there working and they would come up to me and say, hey, mow my lawn. And it just kind of multiplied over a period of time. And then, in 2018, actually 2016, my dad had passed. And then I would say, I don't know how people feel about this, but when he died, like I knew that he made a whole lot of money in his younger days, but when he had passed away, I had assumed that he was pretty much broke. So it never occurred to me that I should or think about if there was something that he would leave for me. But lo and behold, there was something after probate and all that shit. There was something that was left for me. It was a cool little amount of money. And what the money had did for me, the cut that I got. I got some other equipment, and by then I had been doing this for 2 or 3 years. 2 years, I guess. And at this point, this is like 2018. So I got some new equipment, new truck, all that kind of shit. So I get separated in 2019. And it's like my whole world just comes crashing down. And that wasn't even the separation wasn't the worst part. The worst part was that first weekend that I picked up my kids. And I don't know what it did to me. The fact that I had to pick my kids up was bad. But when I had to take them home that Sunday, it was like, oh my God, I can't. I had never been through that kind of pain before. It was literally the worst that I could imagine. And at that period of time, I was picking them up every other weekend, and for a couple of months after I would drop them off on a Sunday, it would actually take me 3 or 4 days just to recover from the emotional letdown from all that. So what happened was I started getting into desperation for money and getting behind on things, and I started selling shit in my service. Like I sold my trailer, I sold my big mower, I sold everything. Then all kind of other shit started happening to me. I ended up in the worst mental, emotional, spiritual state that I had ever been in. And it was a trying time for me. So I went through that, and now today is today. The last couple of weeks, I've been thinking about getting back into the lawn service because of the fact that I loved the work. I felt so at home when I was out there. I'm outside all day, but the most important thing was the freedom that came with it. If kids needed to be somewhere, I can take off work and get them there. They have something at school, I can go. Nobody was controlling me. I was making good money doing that, making anywhere from $800 to maybe $1,200 a week. And it was the freedom. The freedom, man. And I was good at it. I'm a dope ass lawnmower. I think I'm one of the best, period. So lately I've been thinking about possibly getting back into it, but right now I don't have nothing. But here's my question. If a person was in alignment for something, and that's their gift. I write, I make music, like what you hear in the background. But another gift that I stumbled upon, just like my writing when I wrote my book, another gift that I stumbled upon was lawnmowing. I'm a savage. If you are in alignment for something, if you quit, and I had some extreme circumstances on what made me quit. But if you quit and think later down the line that that's really what you want to do, are you still in alignment for it? That's my question. And I'm sorry I kind of took you on a long road, but I kind of wanted to give you a little bit of a background. And also, the message that I want to bring to people is the fact that, sometimes we are living in our gifts and extreme things happen to us. And when those things happen to us, we make some really adverse decisions that could really be horrible for us. And we find ourselves in regret. Listen, man, if you were gifted in something before the trauma happened, don't forget. The gift is there for a reason. Don't put your gift on the shelf, man. Keep doing it. I had sold my trailer was the first thing I sold, and I realized that when I sold my trailer, it stopped me from working because I couldn't use my mower to take from place to place to place to work. That was the thing. That's how things, started falling down, and everything started behind on bills and eviction and all this shit. All this shit started happening because I didn't have somebody to say, hey, dude, I know you're tired of this shit right now. You're going through a lot, but don't sell your shit off. I didn't have the presence of mind to think that. That's kind of why I'm making this video right now, because if you're in a situation where you're going through some trauma, separation, you got personal things going on, and you get to a point where you in a spirit of lack and you think you need money, don't start selling things out of desperation that you think can bring money in that's helping you get money. That's the type of thing that'll cripple you, because once a man loses his means to make a living, it's extremely